Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Well, we know now that the clouds of war are upon us. And we're seeing that there's a disarray, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It creates a great discomfort and an imbalance in the psyche of humanity itself whenever there's a war, and especially during these times and the kind of insanity that's happening between what's going on everywhere in this world, what happened in Gaza, what's happening for the Ukraine, and now this situation with the Middle East and all of that. It's a difficult time because those who we can say are in so-called power, who control the nuclear weapons, who control the armies, who control the ammunitions and that, are basically psychopaths, are basically out to fill their own pockets. It's not about what is the sacredness of humanity. It's not about what is the will of the people. It's not about what is trying to bring a peaceful existence to all humanity. It's just about control and takeovers and again, just pushing forward in a careless way when millions of people in this world, millions upon millions of people in this world are suffering, mentally suffering, physically suffering, spiritually suffering. Children aren't being fed. People in their own countries aren't being fed. People aren't being schooled. And rather than spend money on peace, we spend this money on this war, which is not in our control to do or to make that change at this point of time. At this point of time. But in this Kali Yuga, in this darker age of time, in the shifting of the times, in these winds of war that are happening, it's happening because we're coming to the end of that dark age of the Kali Yuga. And we know that in that shifting of that age, of this darkness of this age, brings about a transparency, brings about where everything will come to the surface and everything will be exposed. So those who want to subjugate rather than liberate are going to be exposed. Is going to happen. Because humanity can't just go with this frequency, and it's not just about what we want, it's about what is happening in the stars, the planets, the alignments, all of that that's going on. So that disarray that we feel, physical, mental, spiritual disarray that's happening to many, many in this population of this world. But I've said for many, many years, I've said this is going to come. We know it's going to happen. It's written to happen. We know that this time is upon us. So what's most important in my belief is that we keep a calmness, we keep a stillness, and we keep a meditative mind. Most importantly, that meditative mind, that consciousness. So we as a people can find a stillness, that we can find a calmness within ourselves. That in the midst of all that's going on, we have to find that pathway through. And we do that together. We have to join together, merge together. It doesn't matter what faith we are, what belief we are, religion we believe, what spirituality we follow. We're human beings that together can join together. That together can come, we can come, and help to spread that message to this world. But I know that I personally have a responsibility within myself to not fall into negativity, to not get caught into the Maya, but to live the truth of my reality. And if we can live the truth of our reality, sometimes we have to find what is that truth of my reality? What is that reality that exists within me? Look at the word religion, the word religion. The root word of religion is reality. So every religion was there to express reality. And the problem is today that there's no reality in that religion any longer. It's been so much changed. But the root of it was that we wanted to explain what is the reality of life. What is that force of this life where we see a sun, a moon, we see a planet, we see stars, we see solar systems. What is the reality of that? And how was that reality created and brought us into this existence in this physical human form? To live together, to coexist together, to prosper together, to find a balance together. And that was the natural way, the natural rhythm of life. But there's that other point of it, what we call as human, is the mind of a human. Because the mind of a human is so complex, beyond what we even know, that it can take us in those different directions to a very positive, healthy way of seeing the sacredness of life, or it can take us to that darkness and into that realm. That's a choice. Every human being was born. We're born with that option of choice. But now today that choice has to be that we find a way through this, and there shall be a way through it. But in the midst of that time, and we're not seeing the worst of it, that's the issue. It's getting worse, we know that, but we haven't seen the worst of it yet. But we also know that there's very strong forces against it. We know that the forces of our collective consciousness worldwide connecting with each other, with a worldwide consciousness. Because our consciousness links together to each other. Doesn't matter what part of this world we live in. Doesn't matter if we're vibrating that force of energy of peace. If we're meditating in that vibrational field, we connect with the universal field of energy, which contains all humans, which contains all of those who are also at that same time anywhere in this world meditating, chanting vibration. That vibration we feel. And it's so important because with every bomb that's dropped, our Mother Earth shakes. This we have to understand. We see that in our younger children who get up in the middle of the night, they say, my bed is shaking, what is happening? They feel, we can feel it also, the tremors that are happening, even those bombs are dropped 5,000 to 6,000 miles away from us, whatever it happens to be. Still that vibration of those bombs dropping vibrates through the Mother Earth and vibrates and shifts the pattern of what this Earth itself is, which is why the rotation of this Earth has been affected. And we add all that together, I know it sounds doom and gloom, but we have to find a way to protect our Mother Earth, we have to find a way to protect ourselves, we have to find that way that we can find a way through to bring a message and share that message. We are here at a time, we've been brought here at a time. And to understand that within this frequency is all God's will as well. What is to happen is the will of God, is not our will. But we have a part to play in that. And we should play that part, I believe, strongly. And it doesn't matter if we just reach the person next door to us, or we reach 100 million people, or we reach 10 people, or we reach 1,000 people, doesn't matter. To reach out, to teach out. And that's why I say that responsibility is to have a positive mind, to have a neutral mind, to have a meditative consciousness, to find the calmness and peace within ourselves and share that consciousness and share that awareness. And that's increasing. It has to increase. But the minority still have that control. They have the funds, they run the countries, they have all that. But that will change. But that change will come also through us. So let us never fall into the pit of the Maya, of the illusion of what is happening. To stay in the reality of our truth, to know what that reality of my truth is very important at this moment of time. And where do I find my reality of truth? That comes through my practice, my spiritual practice, my consciousness, my awareness. My devotion to the divine ocean of life and the sacredness of all humanity and the sacredness of every existence of everything, every creature, everything that was created, every vegetation that was created, everything that has been gifted to us to live, to breathe, to be in this form during this time. To find our liberation while we're still here on this planet, not that I should be liberated when I leave, but I should be liberated while I'm here. To hold that consciousness of awareness. Because our motto, what we say is we never give up. And we shall never give up to spread a message of peace. We shall never give up that our next generations and our young people today and their generations and our future generations, our children's children shall inherit that world of peace. What will the children of the children of the children say in years to come about the work that we did to help usher in this age? To bring this Sat Yug, they call Aquarian age, we say that Sat Yug, that age of peace, that age of truth, to come again into this world and find the harmony. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's a different frequency. Our younger generation, I think, understand it more than we understand it. Because there's a different technological shift that's still, I don't understand all that, but I know my son does, I know younger people know, they understand, they're born to that, they're in that digital, that technological aspect of what is, which can be used to help to spread that message. And this is a very important time. So in the one way, it's an important time for each of us individually to understand what is the reality of my truth, where that lives in me, what is my core self, to have a meditative mind, to sit in your stillness, to be in your calmness, to not react to what is happening, but to find the action through what is happening. And as we come together throughout the world to share that light, to push that light forward, to be those light workers who work to do that, who share that, and bring hope to this world, so that we can make a very good change and end this cloud of war, and end this subjugation, and work towards the liberation of humanity. And that was a commitment that I made 50 years ago. Over 50 years ago, that was the commitment that I made, consciously made that commitment. And at that age, I was 20 years old at that age, I said very clearly, this will be my mission of life, to share a message of peace and unity for all humanity. And in over 50 years, I've never left that. I didn't know what course I was going to take, where I'm going to go up, down, side, middle, this way, that way. Who knew? Who knew what that destiny would be? Well, I think someone, something, somehow knew that there was some destiny. But I didn't ask myself that question, what is that destiny? I just said, this is all I'm going to commit to. And I never left that commitment. Sure, nor shall I ever leave that commitment. And I didn't know what that it would take me on this route that I live today and practice the teachings that I practice and teach what I teach today. That evolved within me. The only thing that I did that time when I was 20 years old, I said, let that flow, and that evolution of however I'm going to evolve and what that evolution is going to bring forth onto me and how I'm going to conduct and live in that evolution. And I'm still evolving, it's not going to finish. How that evolution would carry me, I just allowed it to carry me. I didn't fight it. Because I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a messenger. I didn't know what at that time I would message, but I knew that I wanted to dedicate my life to peace. So these are just, if you look even in your own pathways, where you are in your own path and how you see that, what lens do you see it through? How does that transfer to you? How do you feel that that can be part of what you're doing? How can you incorporate that? But one thing I knew is that I wanted to be spiritual in that evolution. That came clear to me, that I wanted to be spiritual within my evolution, that I wanted to have a spiritual practice that brought to me the calmness, that brought to me that peace of mind, that brought to me a neutral way of seeing things, that brought me an understanding of how I find my truth, brought me the understanding of how I will learn from my mistakes and go forward and resurrect and learn how to overcome those mistakes that we make as we go through this life. We're not robots, we make mistakes, things happen, we go through changes, things go. But I watched how the doors kept opening. Even in spite of myself sometimes, in spite of my own neuroses, in spite of my own inconsistencies. But I watched how doors continually opened. And those doors opened and the teachers came and the technology came and the learning came and all of that came forward, and I just embraced it and continued to embrace it so that I could live it, and then through that truth of living and find the reality within myself so I could share this message, because I knew that somehow I had to be some messenger, and however I could reach out. And not be afraid of it. Don't fear that within yourself. Don't be afraid of who you are and what you can bring forth. Each of us has inside of us a deep complexity of self, a uniqueness and an individuality of self. Each of us have an individuality. Each of us are different. I've never met one I can say that's the same as the other one I met. We've traveled the world, met thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how many we've met in this world. But I can't say I met every one that is the same as the other one. Because we see the uniqueness and honor the uniqueness of everyone. And we see that within myself lives that uniqueness, and I share that uniqueness, and I feel that other uniqueness, and through that I blend. And that blending we call Sangha, that blending we call that spiritual community, that together we blend. So my message is a simple message. Don't be afraid of self. Find the reality of your truth. As these clouds of war are upon us, to find the stillness within yourself, the depth of your meditative consciousness, and share that message wherever you go. What does the spiritual practice give to us? That spiritual practice gives us the radiance of life. To hold that radiance of life. We're radiant beings. We're meant to shine. And to hold our radiance. And that comes through a meditative consciousness, a consciousness that brings into us that life force, through that vibration. We can do Vaheguru Simran, we can do many different things. That which vibrates through us, that carries us. So that we can carry many with us. We say, in our prayers, we say, Jinni Nama Diyaya Gema Shakitakal, Nanakate Mukha Ujjale Keti Shuddhina. Jinni Nama Diyaya, to those who meditate, Diyaya means that meditation, Jinni Nama Diyaya, that meditate on the Nam, the vibration. Gema Shakitakal, their faces become shining and radiant. And many are saved along with them. So we say, Jinni Namadi Ai Gema Sankaragal Nanakate Makujale Keti Shuddhina. That many come with us and we remain radiant and smiling. And those who meditate on that vibration of the Nam, of the vibration of the personality of the self and the reality of the inner truth of the core being, who meditate Dhyaya, meditate on that vibration, Nam Dhyaya, shall be radiant and many shall be carried. So let us carry each other during this time. It's a time not to be upset. It's a time not that we should be reactive. It's a time to know exactly what is happening, know exactly what we need to do, to move forward exactly and precisely in a consciousness of peace, so that peace can prevail upon this world. And together we can create a world that shall be prosperous, that shall be abundant for every person, for everyone. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.